Monday. It's a new week. I wanted to fire up the old tubes of you because I had a little thought on my mind that I wanted to share. Something fun happened this weekend. I scored a second turntable, and I got a little thing from IKEA, as they say in Japan, to get the setup going like in a better way. And I ordered it to our local, there's sort of like the big stores and then the little stores, and I ordered it to the little store so that I didn't have to drive all the way out to the big one. And it was supposed to be there, and I drove down there today to get it, and it wasn't there. It's not going to be there until Wednesday, and I should have checked that before I went, but I thought it said when I bought it that it was going to be there today. At any rate, I have about 10 or 15 minutes before I can go back home, and I had a thought today that I want to talk about so as I can remember it a little down the line. So I've been playing records for a long time. I mean, and I've talked about my record journey, and I think I might have come to records in a way that certainly some of us did, but not all of us did. It wasn't a medium that it was around when I was a little kid, and then it went away, and then it was cassettes. And I would say my first medium was really cassettes, even though I did buy some records as a little kid. But I got into records because they were cheap. I realized that I could get the same Zeppelin and Floyd and Beatles records for $2 instead of $14 on CD. You know, I could get them at I could get them anywhere. I could get them for free. I could get them in the dollar bins. Tons of my records are dollar bin records, and like great records that are not quite expensive. I got a lot of records back in the day, like at the lowest point of the record business. Anyway, not that like records ever really went away, but like I would say like in the late 90s in Boulder, Colorado, where I lived for 10 years and where I went to school, there was an event that I used to go to every weekend, that all of us used to go to, called Unity Gain. And it was there that I first sort of learned of like DJ culture and DJ life, and there was these sort of 3 resident DJs, and it was from there that I got the confidence that I was like, oh, I could spin records, I can crossfade. Maybe I can't match beats, but I can certainly try, and I can mix some of my, I had this kind of like idea of making, some interesting music with the turntables. And then my buddy and we got access to this little pirate radio station up in the woods, and it was built on like stolen equipment and like hodgepodge gear, and there was like 10 half broken turntables in the place, and you had to Frankenstein like 3 of them together to get one working turntable. And we would just spin records there for entire weekends, for like 72 straight hours. We would just stay up all night and fall asleep in the chairs and take naps and then wake up and just spin records from like Saturday night until like Tuesday morning or something. And so I really fell in love with spinning records. And then when I came to Japan, I got invited to spin a set at this really cool place in Shimokitazawa called Never Never Land. And the slot that they gave me was like sort of the least desirable slot. It was like the 12 a.m. slot. It was sort of like late night radio. And what that slot sort of signified was like you had to, at 12 o'clock or 12:30 or 1 o'clock or whatever it was, the train stopped running in Tokyo. And you have to decide at at about 12:30 whether or not you're going to stay out all night or if you're going to go home. And because if you're going to stay out all night, you're just going to stay up until you got to power through 4.5 more hours before the trains start up again. And so that meant that I got like basically a 4-hour set. It was maybe like, I don't know if it was once a month or I don't think it was once a week, but it was frequently. It was like maybe once a month. It was like a once a month kind of deal. Dobie's night. And like that never went away. I got to spin records there for years, and then I got in with my buddy Bemsha and started spinning records with him, and then I started running my own events and started, inviting my buddies to come spin records. So I've just always had a good time inviting myself to some place in Tokyo where you can spin records. But I never owned two turntables. I own two turntables now and a mixer, but I never really owned like two Technics 1200s and like a Pioneer whatever mixer. I always had like one turntable, and if I was playing with mixing records, it was like I was using my Soundburger or a CD player, and I was like mixing record to CD, then record to CD, record to CD, and which is fine and actually kind of a fun challenge to kind of play music like that. But it's not so easy to like mix CDs without a CDJ mixer. You just it's a little clunky. But you can make it work, and I love doing it. But I just wanted to unchain myself from that situation. So I sprung for a second turntable. I offloaded some stuff on an auction site and like got an extra bit of scratch and threw down on a nice turntable. And I mentioned this, but like I got a good one. I got not a great one. I just got an old Mark III 12, like SL 1200 Mark III D or whatever the one is with the button on it. And they're essentially all the same. All the Technics 1200s from the Mark II all the way to the Mark VII, and then when you get into the next one, it's like a whole redesign. But essentially, they're all pretty much the same. And I think they started in 83, like 83 to 86 are the Mark I's, and then 86 to 89 are the Mark II's, and then 89 to 93. But they're basically all the same. Anyway. I scored one, and and it arrived today, and I'm so stoked because I'm gonna go home and open it right now. But I wanted to get a little thing from IKEA to make a little bit more room so that I could get it set up in a slightly different configuration, and that's why I'm out right now. But that's not why I came on to this stream right now. I'm coming on for another little nugget of fun that I just want to look back at this video in some time and remember this day. So this is gonna sound really silly because I'm not gonna fully disclose what this is all about, but I should say a friend of mine came up with a really good business idea for me. A little side project, and which is purely coincidence that he actually suggested this idea to me the day after I scored this second turntable. But this idea that he proposed to me would involve two turntables and a microphone, and he said, "Hey, do you have two turntables?" And I said, "Actually, yes, I do." And he said, "What's the dimensions on them?" And I was like, "Why are you asking?" And he said, "Because my cousin's getting into it." But he was sort of bluffing, and he had this other sort of idea in mind that he wanted to kind of pitch me. And anyway, he pitched me this idea of let's just call it like something to do with DJing. It's pretty juvenile. I recently read how like Gen X is the generation. I've been reading a lot. The algorithms are listening to me. I'm thinking about Gen X a lot. I'm getting fed Gen X articles left and right. But one of them was saying that like Gen X they're like perpetual adolescence, which I think is probably true to a degree. Like I'm still wearing the same sneakers and the same jean jacket and the same silly glasses that I was wearing in 1995 basically. And yeah, I just can't seem to stop like being interested in like old film cameras and fixie bicycles and turntables and records. And here's the ultimate. You want to hear the most ultimate hipster thing you've ever heard in your life? You know how hipsters are always like ahead. Hipsters were like, they did things before they were cool. I was hipster before before there were hipsters. I'm a meta hipster. Anyway, so I got this idea, and or this guy pitches me this idea. I'm like, that's a pretty good idea, actually. Maybe I should do that. And he says like, you should start this new business, and you should get some turntables, and you should do this thing. And I was like, yeah, it's not a bad idea. Actually, it's pretty fun. And so my parents. This is a video really about my parents. I hit the jackpot with mom and dad. They are like the greatest. I love my folks so much. They're so cool. They're so funny. They're so laid back. They're so hardworking, and they sacrifice. They've got 5 kids, and I'm the oldest. And they're just such fun people, and there is just a good time. And my mom's a little bit of a firecracker, and my dad's a bit of a Buddha, and they're just like, they're laid back. And my mom is like the kind of lady who's like, I wouldn't call her a Karen by any means, but like, if you cross her, like, you don't want to cross her, because she's just like, she'll just be a thorn in your side, and she just has no shame sometimes when it comes to like, getting her way. And my dad is like, happy wife, happy life, and he's full of wisdom. He comes off as this kind of doofus guy, he's like, I don't know so much about the world, I'm not that well-traveled like you are, Brian. I'm just a simple man, but he's profoundly wise, because his business is people, and he's very, very intuitive, very empathetic, and he's God, I'm just like, I'm so lucky, because he's the guy, he's like my best friend. I can like ask both my parents, I can ask them anything that I really need somebody's real opinion on. I'm going to ask them before I'm going to ask anybody else. And so I call up mom, and like, hey mom, I got this, RJ pitched me this silly idea. You got to hear it. It's pretty fun. And I told it to her, and she said, oh, this is a riot. You got to do it. I said, yeah, I know. I think I do, actually. And I said, but I want to talk to Dad about it. And she said, well, he's not here. You call back tomorrow, or call back later, or whatever. So I call him back, and I said, Dad, I got this possible plan. I want to hear your take on it. And I told him this pitch, and I'm sorry to like be a little bit, weird about it, but because I don't know if it'll actually come to be, but I was like, hey, what, it involves, like some engineering, and it involves some, things that he likes, garage type DIY stuff, that he's like, that's the other like amazing thing about my dad. He's got a garage full of toys, builds all kinds of stuff, loves to fix the washing machine and the water cooler and the TV. He's pretty ambitious when it comes to like, being like a typical dad from this, 60s, 70s, 80s, or whatever. And so I pitch him this idea, and he says, yeah, I don't know about that, Brian. And I said, oh, okay, maybe I didn't explain it, and he said, yeah, really? Is that something you want to do? And I said, oh, doesn't that sound like fun? It's like music, and it's like, I get kind of fun. It's like, he's like, how much more life do you have in you? And is this something that you really want to, put some energy and money into? And it's like, really? I don't see it. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I didn't explain it well enough. It's like I could do it this way and that way, and it could pay for itself, and I could do this. And he said, Brian, it sounds like fun. As far as like a smart business move, I don't see it. And And I was like, oh, okay. Okay, that's fair enough. You know, I wanted your honest opinion. And he was like, yeah, you know, I don't mean to like crush the dream or anything. It sounds like fun. I mean, if you want to have fun, then do it. But if it were me, you know, you got the kids and like, you know, it's like a weekend thing. I mean, if you want to have fun with it, just, you know, sounds like fun. I'll give you that. And he was like, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe, you know, it's like I'm too old to be asking this about this question. You know, it seems that you love music, and if it's something that you really like, you know me, Brian, I'm always kind of behind you 100%, but this one, really, is that the way you want to do it? And I was like, you're right, you know, you're right. It's a pretty stupid idea, actually. And he was like, no, it's not stupid. It's just, you know, it's like, I was like, no, but it kind of is. And he was like, well, I didn't want to be the one to tell you, you know. But anyway, love you, honey. You know, good luck with it. I said, okay. And I hung up, and I was like, dang, Dad's down on the idea. Mom's like, was totally on board. Dad is not behind the project at all. Quite discouraging. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to throw in the towel, because, I mean, I just appreciate his wisdom more than anything, and he's always right. He's always right. And then I woke up this morning, and I thought to myself, I thought, I want to prove him wrong so bad. I want to hear the words, son, you were right and I was wrong. And I want to prove him wrong so bad that like failure almost doesn't feel like it could be an option. And I wonder if it's like the best advice he's ever given me. To kill a dream, a fun little dream I had. A very low stakes dream, but a dream nonetheless. I can't imagine was that like subversive and clever, but he's that kind of person. And he may just have had the foresight to say, I'm gonna knock him down off the ledge, because I know it will inspire him to actually fucking do it. I wonder if that's what is going on here. So let's see what happens. Who knows? I have no idea. But I just wanted to remember this little thing. I wonder if like someday my son will come to me and he'll say, do you think I should do this? And I'll remember this moment where my dad was like, he didn't encourage me to do something, and maybe I should do the same. As a way to push, as a way, you know, what do they call it? It's what is it? It's reverse psychology. I wonder if I just got a little Jedi mind trick reverse psychology on me. Okay, that got me all the way home. Thanks for hanging out. Hit the like button. I'd appreciate it if you tune in. Let me see if there's any comments. Oh, 4D's here. James Farley said, it's still strange to look out the car window and see it's nighttime. I look out my window and I see daylight. I can't get used to the internet. It's weird. It is indeed weird. Hello, James Farley. Okay. Well, so I'm gonna stream tonight on Twitch. I'm gonna play a set. I gotta do some family stuff, but after they go to sleep, I'm gonna spin records tonight on Twitch, and I'm gonna make a post about it. I'm gonna make a post about it on my Facebook page or my Instagram page or something. So if you want to hang out later and log into Twitch, get onto Twitch. Go try Twitch. Just go get on it and follow Tokyorecordstyle. And actually, I'll say this last thing. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna learn about Twitch and teach what I know about it to us old fogies. But one thing I will tell you, if you happen to have Twitch is owned by Amazon, And Amazon, if you have Amazon Prime, they give you one complimentary subscription so that you can use to subscribe to any Twitch channel. And if you don't use it, you don't get it. So it's free to everybody, and that's what Mikey Bananas from Grown Man Record Night taught me, and that I've been giving him. I don't have anybody to subscribe to on Twitch, only him. He's the only dude I know on there. So I use my Prime Amazon one free subscription to give Mikey $5 every month. And if you're so inclined, you could do the same for me. You could go make a Twitch account if you're on Prime, and go find Tokyo Record Style and go link your Amazon Prime up to your thing, which is not hard to do. I figured it out. And every month, it doesn't automatically subscribe to me. You have to do it one by one. But if you want to come and, like, I don't know, help me move, push this whole thing forward, I'd be so gracious if you would be. I'd be so grateful if you would give me your, share your one Amazon Prime Twitch subscription with me. Okay, I'll talk more about it later on the Twitch stream, but yeah, Twitch TV/Tokyo Record Style. You'll find me. All right, see you guys. Bye. Thanks for being here.